Hi, I'm David Lipsey. I'm the chair of the Henry Stewart conferences globally, and one of the opportunities that I get that I truly enjoy is to meet with, talk with, and learn from the many professionals who contribute to digital asset management. Today, I'm here with Lauren Belomy of Mars Inc. Lauren's occupied a number of increasingly leadership roles from Mars. And Lauren, what a delight to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me, David.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure whenever we get the chance to talk and exchange our learning about what all digital asset is coming to mean and has meant in the past, and as we look to the future. So remind me a little bit about where your career started with digital asset management and at Mars.
So at Mars, I started a role in the global digital team that is a central service organization. And I have a background in digital marketing and social media, mobile marketing, innovation and product development. And when I was brought on the team, I was attached to a few of our key strategic initiatives. And the number one initiative, not surprisingly, was DAM, and the digital asset management solutions to be centralized for our organization for both e-commerce and marketing usage.
And as that conversation began, which skills were you reflecting on both within yourself from your background in the digital and very diverse social marketing you were involved with? And what do you think Mars was looking at when they thought, oh, here's somebody who can help?
Most of the role that I was playing was really getting the stakeholders aligned at all levels, whether it was an executive group that needed to have the buy-in to give us the resources and the leadership support along our journey, and also the ability to gather a number of different resources and different types of people to come together on a journey that would able to be collectively driving toward a new goal for the organization. So for instance, in our case, we have a number of segments from food to Wrigley and chocolate, that's now our confectionery segment, to pet care. And we needed to get the experts in both metadata and technology services to get together and work in ways that were not necessarily cross-functionally in a team before. So I brought some skills of being able to get people excited with energy, but also rally around a singular vision and understand the purpose behind this ambitious mission that we were going on.
It's so lovely to hear words like go on a journey together, build a community, collaborate. And I suspect those were pivotal to the initial conversations about joining the team and how the team was going to work. It's now, how many years?
It will be 4 years at the end of this year, yes.
So let's reflect on that a little bit. What are you doing with Mars today?
So I joined our Mars Veterinary Health Unit. We're a business unit that is across all our hospitals. Mars has a pet care business that is one of the main segments, and I was in a global digital team, and I was promoted into a role of transformation across the whole company, and I moved over into the veterinary side, working in our technology group for experiences across a couple thousand hospitals that we run.
Oh, just a couple thousand hospitals that we run.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's a lot of oars in the water to carry forward a mission like this across so many different divisions at Mars, and with such a variety of some consumer facing, some more professional facing. What are some of the observations that you've made about harmony and direction, about course correction so that the boat's going reasonably the same way over these past 4 years?
We started with a charter that allowed us to get buy-in from the executive level and get support from all of our different executives that needed to then gather their teams, which really helped set a baseline for us. And I think over time we made different types of communications for different types of groups that needed maybe a different perspective of where they needed to buy in the journey. And a more distinct example would be our groups for Wrigley with our gum packaging, for instance, have different need states than our pet care business does, with different types of assets, different types of customer needs, and being able to use the people who are on the ground that know their business best to have the voice to advocate was a really important part of a switch from having a central team tell the sort of executive level story that was more a sponsorship, and actually move into a position where local advocates on the ground who know their business best have a voice in being able to rally their own groups and feel a lot of autonomy in the mission. In terms of course correction, we have really pushed for an honest culture where we're enabling us to, some organizations say fail fast. We like to say we test and learn. So if we go in an agile fashion where we're looking to update things and iterate, constantly working with users, seeing what's working, measuring things along the way, we're able to be really honest and objective with ourselves of whether or not the solutions we're building make sense. And in many cases along our journey, we've had to stop, pause, and really rethink what we were doing.
Yes, it's certainly not only the number of oars in the water has grown, but the nature and the size of the ship and all the different decks and whatever on it have changed a lot in these past 4 years.
100%.
Yeah, which is what an interesting thing to be a part of that, and it's been nice to see the recognition you've gotten from within the company to contribute to that and be a digital leader. And let's use that as a way of asking a question. You've reflected on this, you've done it successfully in terms of your own career in digital leadership. What are some of the skills that you look for as you're expanding the team who are going to contribute to Mars' ongoing development and reformulation of what digital comes to mean for a global branded company like this?
One of the main skill sets we look for are people that lead with empathy and are able to understand what a human-centered design process will look like. That includes even understanding the needs of your fellow colleagues and all of the stakeholders along the way. We really look for people in specific circumstances that have functional skill sets around very specific skills. If you're someone that understands systems and how to set up metadata models and that understands software systems, for instance, and vendor management. But if we're looking at our organization, we're really looking for folks that are able to be focused on development, be able to navigate ambiguous situations, and really lead with curiosity about what might be possible and be open to the idea of iteration and change.
And as that approach unfolds, to lead with curiosity, to have an active voice, what are some of the mechanisms within a business that you would counsel to give good success to nurturing that, to have open engagement, to have ongoing evolution? What are some of the tips and tricks, techniques to help facilitate that?
We have employed use of setting up a champion network early and using what we call community calls to get people to learn about DAM 101 or learn about different technologies, and we bring in outside experts, and these sort of informal calls that are more about education, knowledge sharing, a safe space for questions, but also giving a lot of opportunity for people that have a different functional expertise or strategic expertise or broad expertise to be able to contribute in a way and feel very engaged. And also these calls, when we throw them, end up getting sort of a net of a lot of people who might not necessarily be directly involved in the program at that moment in time, but it is surprising. You'll get someone who's from a China central team of support and service that will join, who's just curious about the program. They might be doing something similar, or they might be involved later down the road. So we've been really good at opening channels early for engagement and really relying on this idea of a community and giving people different types of roles, whether you could be a champion or an advocate, or someone who's merely signing up to be a sponsor and saying, I'll be there for you when you need the voice's support.
It's nice to hear this, curiosity, collaboration, community, as paramount words, as building a bridge to this continual unfolding of a challenging digital environment such as Mars confronts and any major international company confronts, especially with the diversity of brands, the diversity of markets that you're trying to succeed in and grow in. And speaking of growing, your job has changed a lot over these last 4 years, the span of opportunity for you. If you had a chance to talk to some entering the market dam managers, for all the things that means, and we both know it means many things, what are a few thoughts that you'd have about entering the world as a dam manager with an eye towards success and an eye towards achievement?
I would say that the journey will be as open to growth opportunities and challenges that are going to be differentiated for all different stakeholders, and you should open with an idea that your objectives of what you want to go after might need to be translated for a whole different type of set of stakeholders. And so I would recommend that you walk in with an open mind. You walk in with this idea that you might think you know exactly what you might want to do, but learn as much as possible, understand the needs of your users, your stakeholders, and really think of yourself as a storyteller. The dam journey that you're about to go on is a story for the organization, and you are the owner of that story. So I think it's actually a very exciting position to be in. And one of my favorite things about coming to the Henry Stewart conferences is sort of this idea that the dam managers really treat the systems as almost if they're kid, that they're growing up. And I was really in admiration of the care and the passion that goes behind making sure the system and the programs and the processes and the workflows work within an organization. And so I think I would give the advice that you have the opportunity to own this and really think about what that could mean for you.
What are a couple fun stories in that journey for you that you'd like to share with prospective dam managers or with managers who are in their careers and thinking about, I'm kind of ready to do something different? What are a couple fun ones that you've had the chance to live through at Mars?
So when working in a dam program or beyond?
A little, one of each. How's
One of
that?
each,
Yeah.
okay. I think that where some of the moments that have been really great, and I'm a huge fan of this in general in work and in life, is when you don't see a direct connection to where your functional knowledge or your expertise is tied to something else, and maybe that's a non-transactional relationship. And so in our business, we have some really talented folks in the Wrigley side of the business who were managing metadata that had really no reason to collaborate on a project with some of our pet care or our food segment people. And our associates were able to get and share different perspectives that they necessarily didn't have a forum to do so before. And I think these types of programs allow for that kind of magic to happen in an organization where you just never know where you might learn something that is, whether it's something about renaming the packaging, or maybe it's a common problem that we're both having with a retail customer like a Walmart and Amazon, and then we're able to find an efficiency that was maybe not even in the plans of what we needed to achieve. I think those moments are really fun in such a big program and mission. And beyond the role of managing the dam specifically, I moved into managing more products across our digital ecosystem. And what's been great is we have a lot of acquisition groups within the company, and there's always someone who's in charge of the assets at an organization. There's always a level of storytelling that even exists within the walls of an organization, but then there are also teams that are, of course, responsible for the external communications. And what I've really loved is being able to use our dam and the people that are managing assets across the organization, they're the easiest people to link up. And so when I moved into our veterinary side of the business, I immediately was introduced to some of the folks that manage their own community and assets, and it was a perfect sort of bridge to bring them over into the other groups from a common language and goal.
Yeah, having the idea of community roundtable in a world of diversified and challenging and changing a digital ecosystem that is continually redefining itself, supply chains that have geometries that we don't even know how to diagram them, they're so odd, whether it's trace and sustainability, all the way through to packaging that's highly seasonal, things that Mars confronts all the time in making digital come to life to bring these and make them material. And it must be quite interesting to not know what's exactly on the horizon for you, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of what you're referencing, which is the more open we bring our conversations or ideas, the more perspectives, the more we link industries and share each other's problems. If you break those down, if you say, what are we trying to achieve and why, you can get down to need states that have similarities, and they end up being a non-competitive space, and it ends up being a place where you can openly share your challenges, and through that collaboration, that openness, that conversation, you can find ideas, ways to solve problems that maybe you were sitting on that you just all of a sudden it unlocks like that. I never thought of it that way. And so I think for me, when I was at Mars, the DAM program and projects were the best place for me to start at the company, because it gave me such a broad perspective and network across the entire company, touching so many different parts of the business. And so that's sort of given me a really good foothold of a network within the organization too, to solve even different problems.
Lauren, what a delight to talk with you today and to hear about your journey at Mars, how you found skills within yourself, how you look so closely at those who work around you to help bring their abilities, their knowledge, and their skills into an ever-changing digital landscape. It's a delight to speak with you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
This concludes our conversation with Lauren Belomy of Mars. Thank you.